Judgment Day is here, written by Kyron Gillen and art by Valerio Chatti. So to be honest, I typically have mixed feelings about the Versus crossover events like Avengers vs. X-Men and Inhumans vs. X-Men, given how the writers tend to downplay the X-Men and don't always portray them in their best. With that said, will Judgment Day be a vehicle to prop up the Eternals, or does Kieran Gillen actually have a story to tell that's worth an event that spans 37 issues? Let's find out. So, judging by the issue checklist, almost half the event seems to lean X-Men focused, and the issues aren't evenly distributed between the three groups as one might think. So, if you're an X-Men fan, that seems to bode well for this event. Let me know, are you rooting for the X-Men, Eternals, or Avengers? Let me know in the comments down below, because I would like to know. But let's get to it and find out. So the issue opens with Iron Man and the Eternal and former Avenger Sersi talking about the fight with the mutants on the horizon, and Echo, who is the host of the Phoenix Force currently time of recording, Shoryukens Sersi into space, and she is taken into custody by Captain Marvel, Thor, and Echo. Meanwhile, if you haven't been reading X-Men comics, the X-Men have been living their best lives. They've formed their own country called Krakoa, they've used their mutant powers and have taken over Mars. They have 5 mutants, Hope, Egg, Tempest, Proteus, and Elixir, and also with the help of Scarlet Witch, they're able to resurrect mutants back to life. So essentially, all mutants are immortal and are able to resurrect. Up until now, mutant resurrection was a secret, but recently Cyclops revealed to the Daily Bugle and the rest of the world this secret, so now humanity has another reason to hate and fear mutants. So back on the mutant nation of Krakoa, the nation has 12 leaders: Xavier, Hope, Destiny, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Emma Frost, Kitty Pryde, Sebastian Shaw, Exodus, Mystique, and Mr. Sinister. Although Mr. Sinister went missing, and it was revealed in Eve of Judgment that Ajax and Makari kidnapped him. The X-Men side of the story opens up with Mystique, Nightcrawler, and Destiny. Destiny has a vision that the Eternals are going to attack, which, as a reader, I feel she should have had that clarity on that vision sooner. This is, after all, the woman whose mutant power is to see the future, and she's even chronicled possible futures and wrote the Destiny Diaries. So her not knowing about this attack sooner and not giving the X-Men an advantage didn't really sit right with me. Especially considering how well Gillen has written Destiny in Immortal X-Men. If you haven't read Immortal X-Men, you should be reading Immortal X-Men. Time of recording, it is the best Marvel book out right now. But back to the story. Nightcrawler teleports to Mars to warn Storm, Magneto, and Cable, and the other Arakko mutants / Mars mutants. During this time, Storm heads over with Destiny and Mystique to warn Krakoa's Quiet Council. Back to the Avengers. Iron Man and Captain America interrogate Sersi, which we established that the Avengers are basically co-workers at best, and cops at worst. And the Eternals aren't a team, but more so along the lines of a society where everyone doesn't agree with one another. So the Eternals' thing is they correct excess deviations from Earth, and Druig, among the other Eternals, feel the mutants have become an excessive deviation, with the conquering of Mars, immortality, and all their other advancements. So back on Olympia, Druig unleashes Uranus, who is the grand-uncle to Thanos, to go forth and attack the mutants. Druig then meets with Moira McTaggart, and this is really bad for the X-Men. So for those of you who haven't been reading X comics, Moira was a founding member of Krakoa, and after the events of Inferno, has completely 180'd and joined the anti-mutant group Orchis, making her one of the X-Men's current main antagonists, given how intimately she knows them and their secrets. The two send out a surprise attack on Krakoa. Wolverine and Egg are at the beach, and suddenly the island is attacked. The Quiet Council is hit by a psychic attack by the Eternals' Unimind, so the telepaths Xavier, Emma Frost, Hope, and Exodus are occupied while the island is then attacked by an attack flight of assassins. Cyclops, Jean, and Magik join the fight alongside Wolverine. Meanwhile, on Mars, Uranus completely nukes Mars and the A.X.E mutants. Nightcrawler barely escapes. During the attack on Krakoa, one of the five, Egg, aka Goldballs, is killed by the Eternals' assassin, Jack of Knives, and is stopped by Wolverine before he can kill another member of the five, Hope. This legitimately worried me because while I think if Hope died, I wouldn't worry because in theory she could be replaced by Rogue or Sync, and everything should be fine and be back on track, but Egg is a little different because he creates the pods in which the mutants come back to life in. Fortunately, it's revealed he created backup eggs in case of an emergency, so he is resurrected and is fine. The team also resurrects Hope's dad, Cable, who was killed on Mars, but we are left with all the mutants on Mars dead, and Magneto is seemingly one of them. This could be huge cause for concern because the last issue of X-Men Red, time of recording, Magneto decides that A.X.E Council mutants will not have resurrection backups. But given the fact Scarlet Witch has made it possible for any mutant to be resurrected in the events of Trial of Magneto, we'll have to see what happens. During the chaos, Druig tells every human with a cell phone that the Eternals will protect humanity from the mutant threat, and summons eternal death machines from the ocean as his next move. Soon, Ajax and Makkari meet up with the Avengers Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Echo, and Namor. They reveal they've kidnapped Mr. Sinister, and they present the idea the Avengers help them build a god to stop this holy war the Eternals have going on. And this thing's just getting started. So here's my personal take on this story so far. So to start off, the art is solid and off to a strong start. The art here has a very Event Wildworth look to it, and my favorite characters drawn by the artist are Cersei and Iron Man. And it's kind of funny because neither of them are X-Men, and for the most part with Marvel, X-Men's mainly what I read. But that's pretty cool though. I think when characters are drawn really nicely in a visual medium like comics, it makes you want to see more from them and sometimes get to know them better. And that's a lot for me because I don't really read Iron Man comics or Eternals comics, so it's a really high compliment to the artist. And overall, I would recommend this issue. I recommend reading Eternals by Kieran Gillen. Currently, time of recording, it's going on. As someone who's never had any interest in the Eternal comics, I've seen the movie, I've seen the motion comics, and I just started reading Volume 1. I can say the Volume 1 comic is surprisingly good and not a bad jumping on point. I'm trusting Gillian to not do the X-Men dirty like how they were in Avengers vs. X-Men or Human vs. X-Men. Our fate's in your hands, but given his run on The Wicked and the Divine, I think he's going to have more of a nuanced view and things aren't just going to be good guy, bad guy, you win, you lose. I think that if he's smart, he won't piss off the X-Men fans because the X-Men fans at Marvel Comics are a different set of fans from the MCU. Like, what's successful in the movies is not always successful in the comics, and I think in the movies people tend to lean more Avengers, but I think in the comics people typically lean more X-Men. But let me know. I want to know what you're thinking. Do you think that's not the case? Are you rooting for the Avengers? Are you rooting for the Eternals? I'm rooting for X-Men, so let me know. And if you want me to do another one of these videos, let me know that too. My Marvel content doesn't get a lot of love, so you have to let me know if you want to see another one. All right, me Jinx, signing out.